You just seem like a nice dude, and just don't get too overzealous and over eager with wanting to meet a whole lot of people around here. A lot of these people are very dangerous, and if they're not dangerous, they're grimy and two-faced as fuck, and they will stab you in the back the split second you turn around.
Okay.
They'll weasel their way in, make you think that they're your friend. They'll charm you. They'll come off with a lot of charisma and stuff at first, and then when they get comfortable and they see that you're comfortable and you trust them,
yeah,
that's when they knife you in the back and they take you for everything you got. You never see them again.
Okay.
The little guy with the blue bag over there, that's my younger brother.
Okay.
He's okay. He's got a pretty bad drug problem. I don't judge him for it. I still love him all the same, you know. I pray for him. I hope he gets through it. He doesn't want to be on drugs. He wants to get better, and he could probably be trying a little harder than he is, but he is trying. So I do give him a little credit, but it's just unfortunate because he's my brother, and I feel like I have to stay away from him, you know, because I don't want anything to do with that kind of shit, you know. Yeah. He does heroin, and I used to be addicted to heroin myself. I'm actually clean now. I've been clean for a long time. I go to the methadone clinic.
What's that?
Methadone is a medication that you have to report to a clinic every morning to take. You dose in front of them. You take your morning dose every day. It's a 1-a-day dose. It's a powerful opiate that is intended to mimic the effects of heroin. It's to help stave off the withdrawal symptoms as you're coming off of it, and you're trying to, like, your body and your brain is trying to repair itself and put itself back to the way it was before you started doing the drug. It also has a blocker mechanism in it, so that if I was to try and use any kind of opiate at all, heroin, oxycontins, hydrocodones, anything, I wouldn't feel the effects of it. It blocks the effects of the opiates. So if I was to try and use, I wouldn't be able to get high. It's just a deterrent to keep you from using. And I mean, it wouldn't hurt me or anything. I just wouldn't feel anything. So it'd be like a waste of money, a waste of time, you know. So and it also, strangely enough, it helps eliminate cravings. It keeps you from thinking about it, wanting it, and seeking it out anymore. Which is kind of cool. It saved my life, honestly. Methadone did.
How long have you been doing it?
Methadone?
Yeah.
Almost a year now. And I did heroin for 22 years. I'm 40 as I stand here today.
Okay. Like you just turned 40?
I'll be 41 soon.
Okay.
I turned 40 last year. But
oh yeah. So you know a lot of people here?
Uh-huh. I know every single person in the park right this second. Every one of them.
And does everyone come to the park, like, they usually come here like daily type thing?
This is like the central hub of the grimy ghetto of Cedar Rapids. This is where this is like
Plaza Park is the name of it?
Central, yeah.
Yeah.
This is called Green Square Park.
This is Green Square?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every single person, including myself, that you see in the park right now. Let's see. Yeah, every one of us is homeless.
Okay.
I don't know if you are, and that's how you wound up down here, but
Oh no, I'm just from the area. I lived in Cedar Rapids for damn.
you got a crib though.
Yeah. So I work out of Indiana actually.
Are you a paramedic?
Yeah, yeah. I'm a medic on like construction sites.
I
Um,
went to college to be a paramedic, actually.
yeah.
Yeah, emergency medical services.
Okay. Did you get like any of like your certs with that?
What's that?
Did you get any of your certs with that, like a EMT or any of that kind of thing?
Yeah, I did, but I'm unable to get a job anywhere as a paramedic because of my criminal record and because of my drug history and other setbacks that I've created in my life that
Mm,
almost made me going to college just a pointless waste of time. I hate to call it that. It wasn't a waste of time, because I learned a lot, but I will never be able to make use of the degree that I got.
yeah.
Never.
And
I'm
you've never found like any
I'm a convicted felon, and that would just never fly.
no.
You know, I'm a different person than I used to be, for sure. Um,
Mm,
I used to be no better than these fucking slime balls around here.
mm. What'd you get
But
convicted of, if you don't mind me asking?
um, soliciting cocaine to an undercover police informant
Okay.
and underage possession of an unregistered firearm.
Mm. So you were like under 21 then at the time?
I was 18.
Okay.
I had just turned 18 3 months prior. Got arrested for the first time in my life. Me and my son's mom, my first son's mom, that I was with at the time, we have a 23-year-old.
Mm.
At the time, he was 1, because I was 17 when he was born. I'm
Okay.
40 now. Uh, we were pretty heavy into cocaine dealing. Um, we were buying it by the quarter kilo, which is 9 ounces. A kilo is 36 ounces. We were buying 9 ounces at a time for like $5 grand,
Mm.
turning that into like 9, 10 grand in about 10 days or so, about a week and a half, and did that over and over and over again for like 3 years straight. At 18 years old, I had 4 vehicles, and one of them was a Lexus. Yeah.
Yeah.
We each had our own bank account and had right around $40,000 almost at any given time, at all times, just sitting in the bank. Carried bundles of cash in rubber bands. Life got kind of stale, and that's where we fucked up. We were young. We had a kid at a young age. She was a little older than me. I was 17. She was 20 when we had a kid. But to be 18 and 21, and then to be dealing cocaine in that amount, like making that kind of money, like no 18-year-old should be handling that kind of money in life. You know what I mean?
Mm.
That's just danger waiting to happen. That's just trouble waiting to happen.
How'd
It
you how'd you get into it?
um when I was 15, I tried smoking weed for the very first time. That was the first drug I ever did, and I fucking absolutely loved it. Still do to this day. I think that the world would be a much better place if every single person in it smoked weed all the time. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, if there's anything that I have a problem with, it would, of course, be heroin. And, but even more so, alcohol. I despise alcohol. And sadly, alcohol is the drug that everybody romanticizes, you know, and it's the one thing that you can buy anywhere, you know. You don't have to go far in any direction. You could just go in any direction for just a little ways, and you're going to come across either a store that sells it, a gas station, a bar that serves it, a restaurant, something. There's alcohol in your face everywhere you go.
Yeah,
It
100%.
completely destroys a person's inhibitions. It makes a person black out and lose complete control of themselves, physically and mentally and emotionally. People kill people when they're drunk mistakenly, or they can't control their anger, they can't suppress their anger in the moment, and they go too far because they were drunk, you know. Or they kill somebody on accident because they were drunk and they were sloppy and they made a mistake and got someone killed. Or themselves, you know. People die every day due to alcohol, directly and indirectly. And it's legal. It also causes extremely dangerous withdrawal symptoms of which will kill a person if they're bad enough. Heroin, on the other hand, not trying to say it's any better. I mean, it is in this sense, but never once in human history has there ever been a recorded case of someone dying from heroin withdrawal. It doesn't happen. You won't die from heroin withdrawal. You'll feel like you're dying. You'll wish you were dead, but you won't die. It passes eventually, and then you're fine. But alcohol, like, people need to be hospitalized, and they can have seizures and heart attacks and strokes, and all sorts of shit can happen. You know, it's just makes no sense to me, you know? And then this green stuff, you know, grows from the earth like the grass does. And it makes people happy. It makes food and sex and video games, and it makes everything better. Makes everything more fun, you know. It helps with pain. It helps with sleep. It helps with anxiety, depression, stress. It helps with glaucoma. It fucking helps. It's got so many beneficial characteristics, you know, and purposes that it's just it blows my mind, for one. But what it really is it's a shame that it's not legal everywhere.
Is there any reason why you might think that is?
Because when marijuana was made illegal, it was made illegal a long, 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 long time ago, when times were different. The world was a different place. People's minds were in a different place. They saw the world differently than they see it now. The world was a different place than it is now. People felt differently about things, and their opinions and beliefs and everything was everything was different, you know.
In what way?
That it was frowned upon because you know, uh and alcohol was too. Alcohol was illegal at one point in time during the
Mm.
prohibition, you know. That was frowned upon too. It messed people up, made them do stupid shit, made them do bad things that they would later regret. It was dangerous. They didn't want nothing to do with it. They did not want it in this country. They made it illegal. Then, you know, the first person to come along smoking a joint of some dope,
Mm.
you know, presents himself in front of these people, you know, as a dope, you know, you know, acting stupid. They thought in their minds, this is just like alcohol, just as bad. It does the same thing. It inebriates people, it intoxicates them, makes them act differently, make it illegal, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, they were both illegal. It was just everything was illegal for a period of time. But then, uh, you know, to answer your question, I don't think I can fully answer your question. I really don't know. Because I wasn't around in that time.
Mm.
I don't know. I know quite a bit about the history of it, but not every bit of its history. But um, at some point, alcohol became legal, became okay to use. But I think that there was like stipulations with it. You know, it was only sold in certain ways, in certain amounts, and uh, certain places, and you could it could only be enjoyed at certain times, and it had to be used responsibly, you know, and there were rules to be followed with it. But with the marijuana, uh, that didn't happen. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not sure why. I really don't know. I don't
Um.
know if it has to do with the the chemical THC itself, or the other chemicals that are in it on top of that, um,
Mm.
being illegal, or I'm really not sure what was going on in the person's mind that was responsible for that decision. But
Mm.
um, I
Um.
would enjoy slapping them in their face very much so if I ever had the chance.
Yeah.
They're dead now though,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Um.
we'll live with that, I guess.
Going back to when you first started, you're getting like 40 grand nonstop.
Oh yeah.
You said you kind of started with like you started smoking weed. So how'd that go from there to 40
So
grand?
I love fucking smoking weed.
Yeah.
Smoked weed. Once I picked it up, I never put it down. I wanted to smoke it all day, every day. Joints, blunts, bongs, pipes. I wanted to go to the smoke shops and get one of every single apparatus they had. I wanted to smoke weed in every possible way that you could, all day, every day. I was just a young, dumb, ignorant teenager that, you know, found something fun and rebellious to do, and
Mm.
truly did believe in my own mind that it was relatively harmless, which it is. And uh it was just it was my new jam, I don't know. Some people, some people, try a cheeseburger for the first time in their life, and it becomes their favorite thing in the world, and they just go crazy with cheeseburgers, like, I mean, a person can get addicted to anything. You know, when I was in prison, I read a book that was written by.
When did you go to prison?
When did I go to prison?
Mhm.
When I was 18.
18.
For the cocaine.
Mm.
Have you seen Get 'Em to the Greek?
Mm-mm.
The movie? What's that guy's name? Russell Brand. You know the actor?
Mhm.
Russell Brand? Okay. He wrote a book about addiction, about his addictions and how he overcame his addictions and stuff. And it was truly a remarkable book. I read the whole book in prison. But he was addicted to heroin, birthday cake, and porn. And these are real things that people can like legitimately get addicted to. And I mean addicted in the sense that like if he doesn't have it, it affects his mood. Like it can be enough to ruin his day. Like with the cake, if he didn't have cake by a certain time every day, he would start to get stomach aches and stomach cramps, and he'd get the runs and be on the toilet shitting his ass off because his body. There's a I. It took me a long time to learn this. I learned this in rehab, but there is a difference between addiction and dependence. I never understood the difference. I thought they were the same thing, but they're not. Addiction is a mental thing. You convince yourself and you tell yourself that you think you need something that you really don't need. You just think you need it or you want it desperately. Dependence is a physical thing that you don't have any choice or any control over. Your body makes the decision for you when it becomes dependent on something. Your body gets so used to putting the same thing inside of it at the same time every day. And then when all of a sudden one day you abruptly stop and your body doesn't get that, it doesn't matter whether it's heroin or crack or birthday cake, your body's going to fight back. It's going to get angry with you and it's going to sabotage you and start messing you up, you know? Uh,
So
and
you were. So are you saying that you were getting addicted to weed at the time when you were 15?
yeah, I, I became addicted to it, but not dependent on
Okay.
it.
And
Because
then
I don't think that a person can become dependent on marijuana.
right.
You can abruptly stop using marijuana and you won't reap any consequences at all.
Mm.
You won't feel bad or crappy or experience any sort of withdrawal of any kind.
Right.
Um,
So then going like when you were 17,
so
were you selling, did you say it was cocaine?
I started selling cocaine when I was 16 because what happened was when I was 15 and I got into the smoking and I wanted to do it like every possible way and I was all about smoking it and nothing else. Like I was literally I was working at 15. I've been working ever since I was 10 years old. And when I was 15, I was working at a Wendy's. So I had an actual, like, real job, you know? And uh, sure, minimum wage was $5.15 at the time, and it was
What was the time?
Wendy's. Huh?
What was the time?
99, 98, 99,
Okay.
1998, 99. 5.15 an hour, you know, working 20, 25 hours a week, you know, as a 15-year-old and then going to high school. So I wasn't making like buku money, but I was making enough money to blow it all on weed and have enough weed to smoke all day, every day of my life. And that's all I spent my money on. And I did that for like a whole year. The whole year I was 15. And that's all it took was like 1 year for me to get burnt out. And I'm sitting there one day, like looking at my shoes, I was actually looking at my shoes. I'm a real big shoe connoisseur, actually, as you can see. I always wear nice kicks. Um, my shoes were beat to shit, and they were actually the same shoes I got on right now. They were all white Air Force Ones.
Okay.
But they were like beige. They were like brown.
Mm.
And I tried scrubbing them and cleaning them, and they didn't come clean. And they just looked like shit. And they had the curl at the toe, and they looked horrible. And I'm like, man, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I'm a broke ass bum, dude. Like, this whole last year, I just spent literally probably like $10,000 in a year on weed. And I have nothing to show for. All I did was get high all year. And I literally have all the same stuff, all the same possessions and things in life that I had a year ago. Nothing new. I was like, and that's not, I can't go like this. So, um, a buddy of mine brought up the topic of selling it. He's like, well, with as much weed as you buy, bro, why don't you, have you ever thought about selling it? Not to necessarily make money, but just sell enough to make your money back and then keep the rest. That way you can support your habit. You're never spending a single dime on your habit. And, you know, then all the money you're making at Wendy's is just up in the air to spend on whatever, because you're not spending money on your weed habit. And I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? Actually, come to think of it, and it would be easy to do because I knew so many people that smoked weed. People would ask me all the time on nearly a daily basis if I could help them find some, whatever. And I'm thinking all them times that people have asked me to help them get something, I could have already had it and just helped them right then and there. Boom, money in my pocket. I'm like, so then I got that wild hair up my ass, and my next paycheck, I I spent it all on weed, but I sought out the best dealer that sold weight for the best prices, the best quality stuff, and I ended up getting, like I think I got like a quarter pound. It was like the first time I'd ever bought like a large amount of weed like that.
Mm.
And I very quickly, like maybe the first week or two, I was just selling a few bags, making my money back, and then looking at what I had left over. And I was like, cool, this is all free now. But people were still calling me and asking me for some. And I'm like, well, I still got some. Now I'm making profit money selling them this. And I still have plenty to go around. And now I already have my money back. I can buy another one of these quarter pounds. I can start it over. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get rich doing this, in my stupid ass little 15-year-old mind. Got all hot headed. And so I did continue to spend every last dime I made on weed, but I was making my money back. I was able to save my money from my job. I was able to start buying new clothes and new shoes. And I got my driver's license 3 days after I turned 16. And I had my first vehicle a week after I turned 16. And I bought it with my own money. It was just a little shitty Mercury Tracer that I spent like $1,700 on. And, uh, you know, I was proud of it. I was proud of myself, like I was coming up on, and I was like, man, like and eventually I got to the point where when I went to go re-up, I was able to get a half pound instead of a quarter pound, and then eventually a pound, and then I was buying 2 pounds. And then eventually it got to the point where I was dealing with like scary amounts of weed. Now all of a sudden I'm like afraid of how much weed I have, and like the tables are just turning on me suddenly. So mo money, mo problems, right? Just like Biggie Smalls said, the more money I made, the more money I was around. The people that make a lot of money, they hang out with other people that make a lot of money. You know, people that have a lot of money don't hang out with bums. You know, there's far and few. You know, here and there. There's some, I'm sure. Maybe they have history or whatever the case their story is, but um, you know, bums hang out with bums. Wealthy people hang out with wealthy people. Ritzy, snooty people, they stick together, they congregate. And bums, they congregate together. It's just the way of the world. It's always been that way. It always will be. So the more money I was making, the more people with money that I was getting to know and that I was around. My dealer that I was buying the weight from was starting to introduce me to his people higher up in the chain, like big money people. And I just very quickly got introduced to the wrong crowd, is just basically how I'd put it. You know, the wrong people. Some good people, you know, but just into some bad illegal things, you know. And so so once that happened, you know, it wasn't long before I was introduced to the guy that helped me graduate to the next thing, to answer your question. And he said, you know, you ain't too bad at this. I gotta admit, you know, you've caught on to this selling weed thing pretty quickly, you know, and you seem to know what you're doing, you know. I feel like I can trust you, you know. You know how to move your product. You're smart about how you do things. Um, how do you feel about cocaine? You know, because I could, you know, float you something. You pay me later, kind of thing. I could start you off with something nice just to kind of kick you off and see, you know, just work with it a little bit. I'll work with you, give you some time, you know, just in case you have trouble getting rid of it. Just see how it goes, you know, give it a shot, give it a try. And I'm like, well, why is Coke? What's the big deal with Coke, you know? And he's like, because, man, he's like, there's more money to be made in the cocaine business than any other drug in existence on the face of this planet. He's like, you ever seen the movie Scarface? And I'm like, no. He's like, check it out. So I went and fucking rented this movie Scarface that I knew nothing about. And I took it home and I watched it. And I thought that shit was the most gangsta shit I'd ever seen in my life. And at the end of the movie, I told myself, I want to be him. I want to be that dude. That dude, oh my God, like he's at the top of the world, you know, like it doesn't get any greater than that. That is what I want. So that's what I went after. And I went back to dude and I'm like, let's do it. Let's do this Coke thing. And I'd never touched the shit before. I was just going to sell it. And he hooked me up with, I don't remember how much he gave me. It wasn't very much to start, just a test run. And I took it and, you know, shook hands, whatever, was about to go my way. And I remember he stopped me at the door and he's like, hey, come here a minute. Come here. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, have you ever even done this shit before, man? Have you ever fucked with the shit? And because if you do, like, you ain't gonna be able to get heavy into using it and be a successful dealer, because this stuff will like take over your life and you'll end up doing all your product and lose all your money. And I'm like, no, I've never fucked with it. And he's like, well, I'm not trying to get you started on anything you don't want to do, but even the cleanest, most sophisticated dealers in this world that refuse to touch drugs to their lips or to their nose or to their veins or whatever, they still test their product from time to time because it's just business. They're not doing it to get high, but they're trying to get an idea for what they're giving these people and what they're making these people feel. You know, you got to have an idea from that side of the spectrum too. And I was like, you know, you got a point. It makes sense. I still believe that that's a thing. And hey yo, KO. All right, all right. Uh, so he's like, well, uh, he's like, you got a minute? You got a few minutes? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, sit down. He's like, let's do it. Let's do a little bump, you know.
Mm.
And I sat down, and he chipped me off this little measly, like, if I seen somebody doing a bump that small nowadays, I would think it was just downright pathetic. But at the time, you know, I was looking at it and I was like, you know, is that a lot? Like, is that how much do you do? You know, like, how do you do this? You know, I didn't know anything about it. He gave me that little bump, and man, you know, all the years that I did cocaine, dealing it, using it, no line that I have ever done ever got me as high as that very first bump I ever did.
Mm.
And I don't think I could ever achieve that feeling ever again either. I think that that's just a first time thing that happens. But that first line I did, it was like the second it kicked in, I had completely forgot about how much I loved weed, and I loved cocaine 1,000 times more. All of a sudden, like, oh, this is my new jam now. Fuck weed. I don't want shit to do with weed anymore. And I actually stopped smoking weed
How old were
for
you when that happened?
16.
16.
Yep, I only smoked weed for that year, and then I did a bump of coke, and I quit smoking weed. I didn't start smoking weed again until I was like 21.
Mm.
uh, but yeah, I did that little bump, and that was the beginning of a long several year downhill fucking spiral of my life, just plummeting into the shitter
Mm.
day by day. Just
'Cause you said you were selling it as well up until you were 18. So those would have been like 2 years.
16 to 18, uh, 18 in a few months, so maybe 2.5 years, two
Mm.
and a half to three, close to 3 years.
Mm. So were you
Yeah.
just doing like more and more of your product? Was the issue of it?
I could do as much of it as my heart desired. I could do it into the heavens, and it never mattered because we were selling so much of it so fast, so consistently, nonstop, just constantly for years, back to back to back, that it didn't matter how much I did because we were selling it faster than I could have ever done too much. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I we never kept track of how much we did or anything like that, because like, when you buy a quarter-kilo brick that you're going to break down into ounces and half ounces, 8 balls and shit, and sell it over the course of the next week and a half. In a week and a half, you're only going to do a tiny fraction of that brick to yourself, and the rest is going to get sold. And in the end, in comparison with how much money you made and what little tiny fraction of it you did and how much that's worth, like it's not even the same ballpark. I think I was at my worst, at my absolute worst. I was up to I was up to about a ball a day, about an 8 ball a day. I was doing a lot. But I also, about halfway through, met somebody else who taught me how to cook it into crack, taught me how to rock it up and turn my cocaine into even more money by uh, altering it chemically in the kitchen. And of course, it wasn't before long, doing that so many times, I just got curious. I'm a Cancer. I'm the most curious sign that there is. I got curious and I wanted to try that too. I remembered how much I loved Coke the first time I tried it. I was like, shit, I want to try and take a hit of this. So I went and bought me a crack pipe and plopped a rock in there and ripped it away. And, well, now this is my favorite. And when you're smoking it, you're going through it a lot faster. And, yep, it was just, things just progressively got worse and worse and worse. And I was just on a self-destructive mission.
When was that when you did crack for the first time?
17, maybe a year into selling the Coke, I learned how to rock it up, and then I was selling it soft and hard. I was giving people the choice for maybe 6 months, and then I got curious one day and tried it, and then I started smoking it. I was still snorting it too, but was doing it both ways.
Okay.
And then what happened was, the guy that I was getting it from, that I was buying it from, his name was Tito, and he actually gets out of prison next year for the same shit. He went down. He was part of our whole uh organized, our whole construct, our ring, whatever you want to call it, our drug ring. He went down for the same shit me and my baby mama went down for, but just on a much higher scale, because he had way more, and they were doing controlled buys on him and shit. So he got a lot more time.
And how'd you go down? I know you said like a.
He introduced me to a guy. He said, I got a guy. I got a client that I need to pass off to you. It's not that there's anything wrong with him. He's not a bad dude. He's cool as hell. But he just dabbles in amounts that I don't have time for. He's like, I can't help him because I don't sell those amounts. The amounts that he wants is more in your range of business. He was like an ounce buyer. He'd buy like an ounce, and I bought quarter kilos, which was 9 ounces. So an ounce was an amount that I would sell. And Tito, he would buy, 25 kilos at a time, and he only sold kilos, half kilos, and quarter kilos. That's it. This, that, or the other. You got three choices. And perfect example of these upstanding citizens that I was telling you about. Nope. And here comes this guy asking me for a cigarette for the 47th time in the last 24 hours. What's he going to offer me this time for one? What's up?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Had a pretty good day.
Yeah? Me too, man. Me too.
Pretty happy.
It's only going to get better.
Yeah.
But yeah, real quick, so this guy, he's like, yeah, his name's Chad. I've known him for a while. He's cool. You can trust him. He's good people. I'll give him your number if you're cool with it. I'll have him give you a call. Then you'll have his number, and you guys can work your own thing out from there. I was like, cool. Very next day, I get a call from this random number. It's this Chad dude. He's like, what's up, man? You know, I'm Tito's boy. Nice to meet you. He's like, well, what's up? You know, you good? He's like, yeah, you know, what's up? He's like, I just need a whole one, just a zip. I'm like, cool, you know. He's like, you know, where you stay at? You know, I'll slide through. I was like, no. You're not coming to my house. Especially not the first time. It's like, I'll come to you. You know, I got no problem coming to you. We'll keep it like that for a little while, you know. So for a few weeks, maybe a couple months, I was always going to him and meeting him in like a parking lot somewhere or something, at Walmart or something like that, and just real quick, boom, boom, part ways, wham, bam, done and over with. He got the same thing from me every time, just a straight zip for a straight $1,000 every time, easy peasy. And then and it, you know, one thing that was weird was every time because I'd get out of my car and I'd always go get in his car. Get in his car, I'd give it to him, he'd pay me, and while I was sitting there counting the money, he'd always break off a bump and try it, make sure it was legit. And he'd break me off a bump too, out of the stuff I just gave him. It's just kind of cool. Nope. I had to bum this one. I actually had to pay for this one.
I'll give you one.
Sorry, man.
Give me some magnets for cigarette.
Is that some kind of joke or something?
No, they work.
I have a lighter.
Okay. I guess. Where is it?
I mean, I don't have any cigarettes. I literally had to buy this one from someone. If he could keep it within reason and be and do it within moderation, you know, I'd be a little bit more respectful about it. But I've already given him my hand enough damn times and got shit in return. So I'm just getting tired of him following me around, stalking me for cigarettes at this point. So, I mean, they sell them at the store, you know. I don't sell them. They sell them at the store. Go buy them at the store. Quit buying them from me. Anyways, I don't mean to be a dick. I'm not an asshole. I'm not a bad person. I don't like to think that I'm a piece of shit, asshole, bad person or anything, but I've put up with these people for far too long. I'm just to my limit.
No,
But
you're good.
so yeah, you know, like I thought he was legit, you know, because he'd always do a bump with me. We're good, fist bump, I'm on my way, boom. And then one time he calls me up, he wants something, and I was like, well, where you at? I'll come meet you, usual routine. And he told me where he was, and it was actually like right down the street from my place. I'm like, oh, you're actually like right over here by me. Tell you what, you can come over this time. I think we've developed a relationship and a level of trust at this point. You know, I think you're good to come over. You know, whatever. So he came over, bought from me, same routine, busted off a line, gave me a line, did a line himself. He left, and from that point on, he always came over to get it. And it was because we were becoming friends, and he would come over and we'd get high and play video games together. After he'd buy his shit, he'd hang out for 2-3 hours and then leave. And he did that maybe 2 or 3 times. And then he calls me up one day, and for the very first time, he changed his order, which I thought was weird. He wanted 1.5 ounces. And I was like, well, I really don't do halves, but I'll do it for you. You know, just 1,500, we'll call it good. So something was just off right then and there. And he comes over, and he doesn't have time to do a line this time. He's like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm like, man, don't be sorry. It's your stuff. You paid for that. That's yours. I got my own stuff. If I want to do something, I can, you know? And he's like, man, I ain't even got time to do any myself, man. I gotta go. I gotta go. And he was having a hard time making eye contact with me. He was sweating profusely. He was just not right. Something was way off with him. But I didn't think much of it. I just thought it was weird and left it at that. He took the shit, he walked out the door, and I'd say it was maybe 90 seconds, maybe a minute and a half after he went out the door. The front door came right off the hinges, and DEA task force, fucking Boston Police Department, uh, yeah, BPD. There was a few officers that said DEA on the backs of their jackets, and then a couple that said FBI. And because they had all been correlating together and working an investigation on me and my dude for quite some time. And fucking come in, just one after another, coming through the door with shotguns and assault rifles, telling me and Jesse to get down face first, lay flat on the floor with our arms and our legs spread out like this. And I got my head turned like this to the front door, and I'm watching them just pour in one at a time. And the very last person through the door was him. It was Chad in a fucking in a DEA jacket. Yep. He was the last one through the door, and he walked in, still sweaty, still looking nervous as fuck. And he never once looked me in the eye through the whole process. It was just.
So he was doing bumps of cocaine with you, as well as giving you $1,000 each time.
Yep. And
I'm guessing that all came from the DEA.
That was government money, and it was seized from me to be paid back in restitution as part of my charges. I owed that money back in the end, and all the money that I had on me and in my bank account was seized. All my jewelry was taken. They took because they would take anything that could be considered an asset. And I had some pretty pricey jewelry that I bought and like got loans on and made payments on and shit, like you do it with a car. So anything that was of value like that, they seized it. The only piece of jewelry I got to keep was my wristwatch and my engagement band that my baby mama had given me. They took everything else from me, all my chains, my bracelets, everything. Crazy. It was just the most sickening feeling in my stomach to just see him come through the door, and looking back on all those times, we played video games together and we hung out. Like, I thought this dude was my homie. Like, and he was DEA.
Yeah.
Scary shit, man. And he got high, and they know that. They tell him to do that. They tell him that that's like part of his job. He might have to do things like that to get close,
Yeah. Yeah, so much. Sorry, I'm gonna double check to make sure this is still recording.
So
Yeah, we're still good.
I don't know how we got all into this whole topic in the first place, but every time I get to talking about it, I just get carried away. So I'm sorry, but
no, you're good. You're good. That's
how
like
that's
a part
how
of this
that
whole
happened.
ordeal. I mean, ordeal in English. Just jabbing.
I went to prison for that. How
long did they charge you for?
Well, they were the soliciting cocaine. It was soliciting 56 grams to an undercover police informant, and then I was charged with distribution of cocaine, 11 counts, plus the soliciting for that day. So a total of 12 counts, because there was 12 controlled buys that they conducted on me, and I was charged for each time. But what they did what they called boxcar it, where they dismiss them all but one that I plead guilty to, and I just take the time for one of them.
How long was the time for?
It was a 10-year sentence.
Okay.
But it's a state crime, so you only have to do 55% of that, but you're eligible for parole even sooner than that. So I ended up doing 18 months and got out. The underage possession of an unregistered firearm at the time in Massachusetts was only a charge that carried 2 years. That was long before the way gun laws are nowadays. Long before school shootings were a regular thing, So,
okay.
I was facing 12 years total. I did 18 months, got out, and I was on parole for 3.5 years. So it took a total of 5 years of my life away. And I never violated parole, though. I never went back to prison. And
I mean, it sounds like you got cut at least with you some bit.
Huh?
It sounds like I got cut at least with you some bit in the 10 years.
Yeah. They just suspended the 10 years sentence. So it was still hanging over my head. If I would have violated my parole enough times and gone back, they would have hit me with the whole 10. I would have had to finish all out. But I got lucky, and they suspended the 10 and gave me what was called a soft dime. So 4 years, 8 months to discharge it. But I paroled in 18 months, and then I was on parole the rest of the time until the 4-year, 8-month mark.
Was that due to like good behavior type of thing, or?
No, that was just part of my plea agreement. Okay. That was what my lawyer got me off on. That was due to having no prior criminal history. I was also cooperative. I didn't lie or try to weasel out of it at all. I answered every question they asked me, and I answered it honestly. And the only thing that I didn't do was roll over on my guy. but I didn't need to because they were already up his ass. He ended up, I called him from jail after I got arrested, and he picked up the phone with the exact words, "What the fuck happened?" And I said, "You know what happened, and you need to, I'm telling you right now, you need to pack your shit and get the fuck out of your house right now. Go. Just go. I don't know where you're going to go, but go. Just get the fuck on." And he said, "Say no more." And the phone clicked, and that was the last word I ever spoke to Tito in my life. He hung the phone up and he disappeared. He managed to slip away before they raided his house, and he went on the run. He was hiding out in Vermont, in the forest in Vermont, in a cabin for, I think it was like 10 or 11 years. He made it on the run before they got him. And then when they got him, uh, he was hit with the same 10-year sentence that I was, but he had to serve the whole 10. They gave him what's called a hard dime, which is a dime 70, and you got to do 70% dime. And he caught some additional charges while serving those 7 years that they tacked on another 5 years to that. So in the end, he's been doing a total of 12 years, and he gets out next year.
Okay.
So the 12 years plus the 10 he was on the run, and that would have been 22 years ago that all this happened.
Okay.
Yep.
You said you started when you were 15. Were you like living with family? Was your family like around at that time?
Mm-hmm.
Did they notice or pick up on it at all?
I think they knew something was up with me, but didn't know what or how to figure it out. Or how to handle it. I came from a really good family. I couldn't ask for better parents. You know, my parents are still married to this day. They've been married for 42 years, happily married still to this day. I feel like I was very fortunate to be a child with two loving parents that never divorced, you know. I have a lot of friends whose parents divorced, and I know what that shit's like and what it does to a person, and I never had to go through that. So I feel very blessed to have two parents that stuck it out, you know. And
Are you still in contact with them?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. My mom was a homemaker. She never worked a day in her life. You know, my dad went to work and wanted my mom to stay at home and take care of the kids. You know, I'm one of five. I'm the second oldest of five. So, you know, my mom had her hands full at home, and my dad did well enough at work. He was a mortician for 44 years. So he was able to support us, and he loved doing that. It made him, he was really proud of that, you know, to be able to take care of us and my mom the way he did. You know, I went to Catholic school a lot of my life growing up, believe it or not. I did go to public school for, I'd say it's probably equal, half and half. I'd say probably about 5 or 6 years of public school, 5 or 6, 5 in Catholic school, 6 years in public school.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would have dropped out my junior year, and I didn't graduate initially, but I did eventually. I went back and graduated eventually. Got my GED, and then went to college.
When did you get your GED?
When I was 29.
Okay.
And the very next year, when I was 30, I went to college. Went to college in Cedar Rapids too, at Kirkwood.
At Kirkwood?
Yeah.
Okay. How'd you end up in Kirkwood? Or like I guess just Iowa, because you said you're from Boston, right?
Yeah. That's a whole nother long, sad story, to tell you the truth, how I wound up here. But I've been back and forth my whole life. I came to Iowa my first time when I was 10. So
Okay.
I'm really familiar with Iowa, and Boston, Massachusetts as well. So
Okay. So you just like have family in the area then?
out here, I have two brothers that live in Cedar Rapids currently.
Yeah, I know you
One
mentioned
of
the
them you
one.
seen just a little bit ago, my little shit brother. And then my older half brother lives in Cedar Rapids. Then my other brother is in the Marine Corps. And then I have a sister that lives in Missouri.
Okay.
My parents are back in Boston once again, but they did live in Iowa for some time.
Okay.
My grandparents are all deceased at this point, except I have one grandpa left. He's 93.
Damn.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, all my cousins are from Boston. My dad has three brothers, and each one of his brothers had a shitload of kids. Uh, one of my uncles had 6 kids. My other uncle had 10 kids, and my other uncle had 4 kids. So I have 20 cousins between 3 sets of aunt and uncles. Yeah. And they range in age from uh, my oldest cousin is like pretty close to 60 now.
Okay.
And my youngest cousin is like 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
So,
And then you said you had a 23-year-old?
uh-huh.
Okay.
And a 17 and a 15-year-old.
Oh, you got 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The other 2 are with another
Baby mama?
female.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually 23, so I'm first kid's age.
I was gonna guess you at somewhere in the range of like 22 to 25.
Do you ever get to talk to him much?
Yeah, all the time. He lives here in Cedar Rapids.
Oh, does he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he's my little homie.
Oh yeah. Is he? What does he do?
He's got 3 jobs right now, actually.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he's pretty busy right now. He works at the Oakland Road Hy-Vee in the meat department.
Okay.
Makes pretty decent money there, actually, from what I understand. And then he works I should say his main job, if you call it any one of them his number one like main job, that would be at Rockwell. He works in the cafeteria at Rockwell Aerospace.
Yeah.
He feeds the employees on their lunch break. He works in the cafeteria or whatever, the kitchen.
Okay.
Um,
Oh yeah.
and then he works at the meat department at Hy-Vee, and he coaches little boys soccer part time for part of the year as his third job, and that actually like just started up. Like they're practicing, they're in the practicing stages right now, but I think the kids that he works with are like kindergarten age. I think they're like 5, 6 years old
Okay.
that he coaches. It's pretty cool. Because he was a soccer player his whole life growing up. That was his sport, his favorite sport. That was the one he always went out for and always did really well at it. And yeah, he loves soccer. So
Okay. Oh yeah.
I don't know. I guess he had one of his soccer buddies got him hooked up coaching with the little kids or whatever. So
and like, does he do that with like elementary kids or?
yeah, they're like 5, 6 years old. I think they're like kindergarten age that he works with.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a couple different. I don't know if they're all the same team or if they're different teams. He's got a couple different groups that he does, on different days. But they might all be part of the same outfit. I'm not really sure how it works.
Okay, that's cool. Does he have any kids?
No, not yet. Thank God. Okay. No, but yeah, it's crazy to think that I could be a grandpa at 40 years old.
Yeah, I mean, he could pop one out.
He
here not too
could
long.
have for the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, like I did.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think,
Maybe he's taking his time.
He's just not.
Does he have like a girlfriend yet?
No, he just doesn't. Not about that right now.
Okay.
He's just not. He ain't got time for that right now. I think he's never said this, but he's my son and I know him real well. But I think that if he had a girlfriend at this point in time, she probably wouldn't do anything but piss him off, really. Just annoy the fuck out of him, probably, and get on his nerves and drive him nuts.
Just because he's busy so often?
Yeah, and she'd just be a headache for him, I think.
Okay.
But
so you were around him pretty often then?
Not so much now that he's working the 3 jobs, but I talk to him every day though. Actually,
like when he was going through school, did he go through school locally? Like
he went to Jefferson.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
Me, I'm actually from the Quad Cities.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I went to Central. So I did kind of I was in like cross country track. So
his name's Noah, my son.
Your son?
Yeah.
Okay.
Noah Palmer.
Did he do any like track or cross country?
No, just soccer and football.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I would have came across him then.
Hey, Greg. Is that phone still over there? Could you grab it for me real quick? Hold on 1 second. I'm
No, you're all good. Wow. This is still going.
That 93.
Did KO say how long he was going to be?
An hour 13.
I couldn't remember the unlock. No, I don't even. Have we been on camera this whole time or recording?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess so.
Why, is there something you didn't want shown or anything?
No.
Okay.
I don't care.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if there's anything at all you want me to blur out of that, that's...
No.
Okay.
You can do what you want with it.
Okay. So
no, I already did my time for all that stuff, so there's nothing incriminating
right.
that I
you started
mentioned. So
okay. How'd you end up at Green Square now?
Oh, there he is. I unfortunately wound up homeless back in August because the girl that I was living with, who was not my girlfriend, she was just a longtime friend of mine.
Mm.
I had a girlfriend that had her own house and would come over and hang out with me all the time. And her and my roommate were even good friends. So I never would have suspected this. I guess the whole 3 years that I was living with her, unbeknownst to me, this girl had an infatuated crush on me secretly and envied my girlfriend
Oh.
behind my back. And he better not fucking go anywhere. And then, yeah, so I guess after 3 years of living with me and being madly in love with me and not being able to have me, it finally got to her and she finally couldn't take it anymore and she snapped. So she came out with it, and she was very forward about it, and it was like, this is how I feel. Now you know, let's fuck. That's like how she came at me. And I was like, this is how I feel. No. No. Absolutely not. Like, I have a girlfriend that I have loved for many, many years very dearly and is my best friend in the whole world. And I've never seen you as anything more than a roommate and a friend and a homie, and I'm sorry, like, looks aren't everything, but in your case, it's a pretty good part of it. You're just not very good looking, and
Yeah.
I just like, yeah, no, you're, I don't know, you're just too much.
So then from there, were you just like stuck on a lease with her and you had to break it and didn't have another place set up?
No, I turned her down. So the next morning, I got up in the morning and I left the house, and it was nice out, so I decided to walk instead of drive. And I walked down the street to the Mount Vernon Road Hy-Vee to get a few things. And as soon as I checked out and walked out the front doors of the Hy-Vee, I got a text from her saying, yeah, I'm just letting you know that you maybe have 10, maybe 15 minutes at most to get your ass back here to the house and get whatever shit of yours you can and get the fuck out of my house. Because the police are going to be here to evict you. She was like literally going as far as to having me like legally evicted out of the house, because I wouldn't sleep with her. Which apparently, when I told the police that, they didn't like that so much. She went to jail for solicitation of prostitution. I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah.
And that is just another thing that she hates me for now. And that's like, I didn't know that was going to happen to you. That's your own damn fault. You can't fucking call the cops on somebody and have them thrown out of your house because they won't fuck you. Like, I guess now that I think about it, it makes sense. But so of course, they evicted me out of the house, and then I managed, once I finally got her on a civil communication level, finally, I managed to work something out with her to where I was going to set up a time and a day where I could come over to the house and get all my things out of the house. It's just that I was trying to work on finding a place for all that stuff to go.
Mm.
Like, I wasn't worried about being out on the streets. I could take care of myself, but I needed to figure something out for my things, like a storage garage or a place that I'm going to move it to, you know? I can't do that overnight, and I needed some time. So once I finally got it figured out, I called her up and I was like, yeah, so if you're still okay with it, I'll be over later today, you know, like we planned, to get my stuff and whatever. And she's like, what stuff? And I'm like every last thing on the face of this planet that I own in life
Mm.
that is at your house. She's like, you don't have anything here.
Mm.
I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, I don't have any of your stuff. I'm like, you better be joking. Like, you better seriously be joking.
Mm.
Because I had a lot of things that were irreplaceable, and I still have a hard time telling this story, so I apologize if I get a little choked up, but
You're good.
like, I had like family photo albums, you know, things like that, you know, if that's not bad enough. The one thing that one of the things that's really got me fucked up the most is I had an urn with some of my grandma's remains in it that I lost, and that's been pretty tough.
I'm sorry to hear that.
My favorite childhood toy, which was a stuffed Ninja Turtle that I got when I was 3 years old, was 37 years old. I lost that. That thing was one of the most important things to me in my entire life, you know, even as an adult. I mean, I didn't sleep with it anymore, but,
Yeah.
you know, it fucking meant the world to me. And so I'm like, I'm not really sure what's happening here or what you're saying or what this is about. Like, this is surreal, and I am having a hard time processing this right now. I'm going to call you back.
Mm.
So get off the phone, and I'm trying to like figure out I'm trying to make sense of what I just heard, you know?
Mm.
And I'm also at the same time doing research and looking into it to see if she did get rid of it, if that was legal for her to do that also.
Mm.
Which unfortunately, it has been a fucking major lesson in life learned, that it was perfectly legal for her to do, because we never had any sort of signed agreement of any kind. You know, never thought I needed one. Huh? All right, for sure. You know, this girl was my best friend for a long time.
Mm.
You move in with your best friend, you don't really think that you need to sign your life away, because down the road this bitch might take all your belongings, throw it in a fire pit, the fire pit that you built for her in the backyard, and dump a fucking jug of gasoline on it and throw a cigarette butt in it and burn it into the fucking sky. You know, never thought that that would happen, but
Were you able to like look through that fire pit at all?
So this is what happened. While I'm trying to process all this shit after I got off the phone with her, my girlfriend calls me up, bawling her eyes out. She's so hysterical, I can't even understand the words she's saying. Like, it took me 10 minutes to get her to calm down to the point where I could understand her first. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what happened? Like, you're scaring me. Like, did someone die? Like, what is wrong? Like, whatever this is, like, I'm not sure if I can even handle whatever this is you're about to tell me, because I'm already going through like more mental anguish than I can handle right now. And she's like, I know, and but you need to know though. Apparently, my roommate took all my stuff out to the backyard into the fire pit that I built for her like a few months prior, piled it all up in the fire pit. Apparently, and I had a lot of shit, a lot of nice shit, tens of thousands of dollars worth of belongings, everything that I owned in life, every fucking thing. She said that the pile stood at least 8 feet tall in that fire pit. It was a bonfire by the time it was up in flames. And my roommate recorded a video of her putting it all in there, dumping an entire red 3-gallon jug of gasoline all over it, threw the jug on the pile as well, lights up a cigarette, and spends about 6 or 7 minutes smoking a cigarette, just talking mad shit, saying heinous, horrible, heinous things to me and about me into the phone, gets down to the butt of the cigarette and flicks it into the fire pit, and all my shit burst into flame.